Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Mo aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we are here with a 27-year-old Springbank sample. So of course, first of all, massive thank you to Ronnie who reached out on Instagram and asked if I wanted to try a sample. I mean, this is something I would have never been able to get a hold of because it is a bottling for the It's All About Springbank Facebook group. So I mean, maybe you who are watching this are already a member of it. If you love Springbank, then maybe check them out. But yeah, so they've done their own kind of bottling of this 27-year-old Springbank, and I believe they've done 2 bottlings before this, and it's of course kind of exclusive to the members, and I know not even every member gets it because it is of course quite limited. But I'm very fascinated to try this. I of course recently reviewed another Springbank, one of their core releases, if you're curious about checking that one out because it's a little bit easier perhaps to get a hold of. And yeah, I'd love to review more whiskies from Springbank, but yeah, they're not always the easiest to get hold of. But yeah, I've heard that there's so many different people out there that have their own kind of specific favourite, and it's just great to hear that it seems to be a whiskey that a lot of people enjoy. But yes, let's get to trying this one. I mean, a 27-year-old, that's quite something, isn't it? Let's start by having a look on the nose. Or maybe first, I'm guessing most people know already, but Springbank is of course a distillery located in Campbeltown, and they're one of the truly kind of family-owned businesses still. They like doing things very traditionally, and they have basically everything in-house, which is, yeah, well done. But let's have a look on the nose. Springbank always seems to be quite fruity. This is just what I need because I feel like I'm in between feeling a little bit blocked off because of my allergies and not. But I don't want to take too much nose spray. But it's just this big powerful fruitiness. It's almost like a pineapple meets orange meets apricot and all mushed into one. And there's a tropical jungle vegetal note, like that kind of humid, warm, comforting almost, like a jungle hug. Maybe a jungle hug and that kind of mush of fruits. Almost a bit oily, like linseed oil or something, but I usually can't smell oil, so I don't know if that is just something in my head that makes the other aromas. The problem is sometimes when I describe flavour, I know that I describe aromas on my nose, aromas that I get on the nose with flavours. And of course flavours and aromas are quite different because you of course have your like 5 things that you can taste, but you can't smell some things that you can't really smell sweetness, but you can smell something that reminds you of sweetness. Like if you smell vanilla, it's often associated with sweetness, but there's often something in the corners that makes it different. So I hope that when I describe my notes or aromas that I get on the nose with things that you technically can't get on the nose, it's just something else in the corners. But I feel like it's almost easier to go for those words because I know that's how I would describe it. So yeah, I hope it makes sense somehow. Yeah, just super fruity, and it's that kind of jungle, like tropical pineapple meets stone fruit, I would say. And a bit of oranges as well. And a jungle hug. It's a lovely nose, it truly is. But let's have a taste. Sláinte. It's quite punchy. It's you can feel that it sits at a higher strength, but I think the way that it sits, it just adds a tiny touch of spice and it just brings the aromas out. So I wouldn't say it's unpleasant where it sits I think this is a 51.3, if I remember correctly. So fruity, and the fruits are so nice. Yeah, I would say it's still that kind of same stone fruit meets tropical fruits. Maybe with a hint of kind of raisin sweetness. It definitely is like sweet fruits. But for me, I mean, I like a sweeter whiskey. I don't think the sweetness is overwhelming. But for such an old whiskey, it's very alive, and it just makes me so happy when I find a whiskey like this. So thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. It's not too oaky, and it's just a burst of fruits, and I recognise it, the same kind of fruity vibrancy from the 12-year-old I reviewed. Yeah, I need to go to Campbeltown and see what they're doing, but it's I just did that thing again when I say half of a sentence and then I stop it to have a sip, but I mean, there's definitely a woodiness there, but it's behind the fruitiness, and there's like a cinnamon spice, but it's not very drying. It's a very juicy one, I would say. And yeah, this warming feeling now, it's just very, very pleasant. It doesn't have a lot of bitterness, even though the oakiness naturally has a touch of it. And it's not very vegetal. I mean, it is predominantly that fruitiness, but I think the way the fruitiness is presented is that it's so alive and vibrant and quite thick. Maybe that's where the oiliness comes in. Where, I mean, that's the charm with some single casks, that you do get a lot of character coming through. But it's still very well-rounded, but it's almost like it's a bit of a energetic 27-year-old who just like can't wait to get out into an adventure, who's like, yeah, I'm this age and I have all this experience behind me, but I just need to get out there. And that's kind of energy I get from it, which is very pleasant, which is why I think the things that are underneath, like the woodiness, it isn't dominant, but it carries the other flavours because it has had 27 years to kind of bring it all together, which of course benefits some whiskies. But I wish I had a 12-year-old so I can try it next to this, but it's lost in our little pile of samples, and I should have put a little thing on it, but I didn't. So it's, yeah, because I could recognise the same kind of alive fruitiness in the younger version. It reminds me of some sort of dessert, but I just can't think of what it would be. It would be maybe something like, almost like a pear, maybe flambéed pears, like cognac infused pears. Because it does have that punch to it, which you can't really escape. But it also has that lovely sweetness. What a lovely whiskey. I would of course love to hear if you are a member of the It's All About Springbank little group, or if you've tried this one, or have you tried any other Springbanks recently that you think I should maybe keep my eyes out for, or that are impossible to find but you just want to tell me that you enjoyed it. I mean, I love hearing your stories, and it just makes me so happy that there's so many people that want to share their enthusiasm for whiskey. So thank you all for doing that. And of course, a massive thank you to everyone who's been using the affiliate links and subscribing and liking here on YouTube. It means so much, and it's just such a fun community to be a part of. Of course, if you would like to support me, feel free to check out the affiliate links. They're in the little section here below. It's for the Whisky Exchange, Scotch Malt Whisky Society and the Master of Malt. If you're curious about my Patreon, my website, my Instagram or my Teespring shop, that information is there as well. And I of course have to say a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I'm so grateful you want to continue to support me on my whisky journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.